It is late February, nearly the end of the winter, and probably the last one of these cooking sessions. Rather than coming up with some elaborate meal, we are working on the assumption that you are on an extended trip, scavenging up whatever you can from some dodgy rural shop in the Highlands. So rather than dwelling on logistics and preparation, it's all about adaptation and how, with a few basic ingredients, herbs, cooking oil and chili powder in this case, you can actually get something half decent from the bits and pieces that you can find in amongst the grim loaves of mouldy white tasteless bread and tinned Fray Bentos pies. And on this occasion we have found an onion, some non-specific pepperami type sticks, a wrinkled leathery pepper that's just about usable, and some bachelor's super noodles, which, coupled with the remains of some nuts that we had on today's walk, and a bit of naan bread that's left over, we should be able to actually get something vaguely edible out of that, cooking on the meth stove. So I have chopped up the vegetables and the pepperami type stuff. Didn't bring a chopping board on this occasion, so I just used the lid of my titanium mug. Simple enough. And the first thing to do is to heat up the oil so that we can fry the veg. So we'll just pour in the onions and the peppers together. Nothing too sophisticated on this one. So keep them moving for a few minutes. It's a lightweight titanium mug and it will stick if you don't keep it moving. After simmering for a couple of minutes, we will chuck in the pepperamis, which we've also chopped up. Apparently these are extra Wurzig, Germany's finest. Give them a quick stir, and then 200-250 ml worth of water. Stir it all up. Lid on and get it to the boil. Very important when you're doing this kind of camp cooking, keep track of your litter. If you take strips off the top of packets, don't put it down on the ground because it'll get lost and forgotten about, and then you've just contributed to all the junk that's left around by the litter dropping asshole fraternity. Keep track of it, and as soon as it's convenient, stash it in your litter bag. That's boiling nicely. So I broke up the noodles in the bag first, pour them in. Stir them in. be a bit tight with this mug, but we will get it all in. While we're at it, we'll put in the spice sachet that came with it. Remember, don't just discard your torn off strips. Bit of extra mixed herbs and garlic powder, and chili powder. That just goes into everything for me. Stir it all in. Now, I deliberately didn't put in as much water as the packet would suggest for these super noodles, because I found that they just generally tend to turn to mush if you actually use the suggested amount of water. That is now simmering away quite nicely, so we shall, rather than wasting fuel, put the lid on, blow out the flame, put it in the pot cosy, a couple of minutes, and we've got a meal. And there we go, super noodle surprise, with the surprise being it actually tastes quite good. So cheap, easy to do, just requires a little bit of forethought as to what you carry, and most importantly, you're not spending huge amounts of money on ridiculously overpackaged processed food aimed at the backpacking market with a hefty markup. So I hope this series has been of some use. We're nearly at the end of February now. Days are getting longer, so I don't think I'll be doing any more of these, but you never know, I might do.